Hello, everyone. It is Antonetta Mosley of I Follow the Leader, a leadership consulting firm specializing in diversity, equity, and inclusion, strategy, initiatives, and education. I hope you're doing well. Today, I would like to talk to you about DEI training. So you may have seen yesterday that I shared a tip about DEI training. And in January, all of the DEI tips that I share will be specifically about training. And why is that? It's because I recommend that everyone has DEI training in Q1 of 2021. And so when I talk about Q1, I'm talking about the calendar year. So that's either January, February, or March of this year. The only exception would be if you close out the year by having training. So if you had training in Q4, I think you could wait a little bit of time depending on where your company is on the diversity continuum. And so it is so important that we start the year off how we would like to finish it. And so we do not want to start the year off putting DEI on the back burner, sitting it back there. I talk about this a lot. So we do not want DEI to be the box that we pull off the shelf and put back on the shelf. And so how can we prevent that? It's by starting the year off making DEI a critical part of your strategy. And one of the ways that you can do that is by making a strategic commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion. It is so important that everyone in your workforce is on the same page. Many companies and people that I talk to, if I ask them, hey, what's your DEI strategy? Or what's your definition of diversity? Or what is the definition of diversity? Many people throughout the company, including leaders, will have very different explanations and definitions. And so it's so important to start the year really setting the pace, setting the tone, getting everyone from leadership to human resources to employees on the same page about what DEI is and where you're going in your company. It's so important to talk about unconscious biases and how they impact us on a daily basis. It's important to set the tone and say, what is systemic racism? So it really is important to have a training so that everyone in the workforce is starting at the same place. As far as those definitions. So obviously we all have such different life experiences and everyone is going to be at different places in their own DEI journey. However, as an organization, we want to set the foundation. And so we need to ensure that everyone has a good playbook, a good guide. And one way to do that is by having a training. Maybe you say, we are just not ready for that. Well, are you willing to have a courageous conversation? Are you at least willing to let your staff talk about how they're feeling and the things that they would want for DEI? So I'm not going to get too far into talking about doing a DEI survey because we'll get into that next month when I talk about strategy. But if you do nothing else in January and you are a leader, please make sure that a DEI training is on the schedule. Again, this is so important to set the foundation, set the pace, and set the tone that you will be an organization that values diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging in 2021. Feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions. If this tip was valuable to you and this video was valuable, please let me know by giving me a reaction below so I know that you enjoyed the tip. If you're interested in having a strategy call to discuss training or other elements of DEI further, feel free to schedule one at calendly.com/IFollowTheLeader. I look forward to telling you more about DEI training this month, and I hope you have a productive day. Thanks so much.